What's up?
Welcome to another from your mother. You'll always get unfiltered truth and hurtful words and usually things that you'll get upset about from Beyond the Dumbbells.
That's a perfect way to put it.
That's our intro. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
We were talking today and we were talking the other day about the ever increasing presence of fitness professionals in the online space. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also in it's in the brick and mortar. I mean, obviously, fitness is a pretty popular business, but the more and more, and it's probably just because our social media is tuned to those types of people.
Exactly.
I mean, most people get cats and dogs, and I get half-dressed people in fitness. I mean, that's my entire social media presence is nothing but half-naked people working out.
Exactly. And then a whole bunch of ads on supplements.
Tons. So we see a lot. We see a lot in as far as the advertising and marketing world. But we're having a conversation about what it would be like if you were just John Doe nobody trying to figure out who to follow and how to get help from. Mm-hmm. And it's starting to wear on me in a little bit that I don't know if people truly even want to be helped.
Right.
So you and I we're always talking off to the side. Mm-hmm. The life that we've committed to over the last 10 years as professional trainers and just lifestyle experts.
Right.
Our goal when we started the business, it wasn't, hey, this is the path to getting rich and to not having to worry about your future and to, having that nice legacy wealth.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
You're never going to meet anyone in the fitness business unless they're, somebody that's high end, that's got a lot of exposure, that's got their own programs. They're on, the real big time fitness people. And
I'd say too, and they've dedicated their life to it.
Entire life.
And they have surrounded themselves with people predecessors who did the same thing. And then maybe they had like this really big break where they got it with a company who's very well known and they did show that they could hang with the big boys and the big girls.
It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the right personality at the right time with the right type of a program and people will latch onto you for a short time. Mm-hmm. But even people that we knew or that we know that are in the business, they're only popular for a moment.
Right.
And it gets much more cruel the older the professional gets, especially if you're a female, 45-year-old, 50-year-old, 55-year-old. There's a shelf life to females because it's just the cruel way the industry is set up that, old ladies in fitness. Yeah. Guys, I think as long as you can maintain a six-pack and you're kind of still ripped up, you have longevity. I mean, you're looking at guys in their 60s, 70s. They're still doing crazy things with fitness.
Oh, yeah.
It's accepted.
Yeah. It's totally whack.
It's totally whack. There's no 70-year-old man that's going to inspire a 20-year-old woman.
Right.
So when we are looking at the people that we pursue in fitness, so if I've got someone in mind and I've talked about the people that have just physically destroyed me that were 15 years older than me. And it's like, oh my gosh, I've got so much more to do. The male psyche, the A-type personality, I have to have somebody to chase.
Right.
And I've got to have an image in mind. I've never hung anything on the wall and be like, I want to look like that. I don't know if that's just me or if that's just a guy thing. I don't think guys keep pictures of guys on the wall to say, that's the body image I want.
Well, we can definitely speak to the fact that neither one of us have ever been given a picture or somebody pulling up on one of their phones where a guy says, this is the body I want. So from our experience, we've never seen it.
Okay. So most people, maybe we can agree, you've got to have something to pursue. If you're looking for a better version of yourself and you've got a mental image of what that's supposed to look like, I guess you'll kind of latch on to somebody that's got that image that's in the space. You're like, well, right. There's Susie, and Susie's kind of got the shape and the shoulders. That's what I'm going to chase Susie. Mm-hmm. Because we as humans have to have something to chase. Yep. It's not good enough to chase body chemistry, my blood pressure, my body fat. I mean, sometimes it's just not good enough to get you out of bed in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
No, I totally agree.
So we're promoting, obviously we've got our gym and then we've got Shapeshift and we're doing all this. And we did we started just doing social media posts where we put a couple things out there just to kind of scratch the surface and start creating conversation. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that came out on the one post I put up, it was my before and after photo.
Yeah.
And the stuff that came out, I let this out there for about 2 weeks, and it was about all I could stand before I turned off the comments. And, of course, in social media world, even a negative comment is publicity, right? So you got to let them all go. So even though the negative ones are up there, it's still fueling conversation.
Yeah.
And what you don't know is that if you're one of those pinheads that keeps commenting negatively on somebody's stuff, you're going to start seeing more and more of it, because social media thinks that they don't read what you write. They just realize that you wrote it.
Exactly.
And they're going to keep putting stuff like that in front of you. So, haha, you're negative. It's like you're inviting junk mail into your social media stream. So that's what you get for being nasty. But the stuff that I had put out there, and it was just my journey. Mm-hmm. And the significance that I was putting in my post was, hey, it took me 10 years. From my 20s to my 30s to my 40s, I can find a patch in every decade where I was just not optimal. Mm-hmm. And in this one thread, I got 1, that it was fake, 2, that it was photoshopped, 3, wasn't the same guy, steroids. What else did they say? One guy has Dumbo ears, the other guy doesn't, so it's clearly not the same. So not only did people not believe it was me,
yes,
they didn't believe there was a real transformation. They said it was photoshopped, a lot of Photoshop comments. Yep. And then some idiot was like, look, this guy's got tattoos and this one doesn't. It's like, hey, idiot. I said it was 10 years. It was 10 years.
That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah. So
you can actually get a new tattoo.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess what I'm trying to come with this is, you put something out there that you hope might resonate with somebody. Yes. The whole part of fitness is because you and I are both in the business together, you're going to draw a crowd that I'm not. And I'm going to draw a crowd that you wouldn't necessarily. Mm-hmm. So when we promote and advertise a fitness solution, it's like, hey, if this resonates with you, we'd like to work with you. Mm-hmm. And we started out with my story, and it was just very ill received. And like I said, everything from no way was this real, all the way down to I did drug use to get there.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is that we did have somebody kind of come to your defense, or there were like 2 or 3 people, and all it did was fuel more ugliness. Where what I wanted to do, which this isn't me, is to be like, so I'm this guy's wife. I actually took the first picture myself.
Dude.
And I was actually in the presence of you when you had the other one taken. So well,
our photographer got on too.
Yeah.
Because, Chris got on and he started vouching for it, and it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
But this is where we had maybe 4 or 5 people private message off of that thing. They're like, hey, I really need help.
Right.
So obviously the goal was to resonate with a couple people, mm-hmm. and it did. Mm-hmm. The other day I saw some other dude. This was this big brother had he had a thing out, just says, hey, I want to work with you. Never heard of him before.
No.
And
Built. Yeah.
300 comments. Here's the trick to marketing. If you don't want it, you can turn those comments off. All right. So you just put it out there. You just don't get the engagement.
Right.
300 comments. And I think 80% of it was really vicious.
They were ugly.
It was vicious, and and again, same thing. Who would want to look like this? Why would I want to do that? This person has no life outside of the gym. It just went, boom, 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 over and over and over again.
Right.
You have the choice to not comment. You have the choice to not look at it. You have a choice to let it go. Mm-hmm. But these things of late are starting to feed my idea that I don't know that people really even want to be helped anymore.
No, and I see where you're coming from, because we're finding that it's more and more negative and ugly. And if it's not ugly, somebody will turn somebody's positive comment into a negative one themselves even. So they can't even let somebody else, if somebody would have posted on your, if I would have come forward and posted and been like, hey, I'm actually married to this guy. Uh-huh. I've been on this journey with him. I've seen him. I guarantee you I would have been called a liar or something. Been like, what else are you going to say? You're his wife. So people can't even leave a positive, good comment alone without being ugly about it.
The viciousness of humans in the United States. I don't know if this is anywhere else. I think most of those people were U.S. based, but that you don't have enough light in your life to be able to, 1, acknowledge somebody's accomplishments, 2, support them, or 3, share it out to someone that you might actually know could benefit from some guidance and from some help.
Right.
And from help. But that the default inclination of most people now is to just be vicious.
Yep.
And it's part of it. We're learning still to toughen up, and it is what it is. If you can't really take anyone's opinion of you that doesn't know you.
Right.
I mean, it's at some point it was entertaining because people were pretty creative in the way they were being hateful. A lot of stuff came out. But now let's bring this into the brick and mortar space where we see people face to face.
Right.
And in that vehicle, they do know you. They do know your trainer. They do know what you're doing for them. And there's always a relationship that starts that somewhere along the line, when the person cannot do the work or is not completing the tasks as expected to see progress.
Right.
It ends up going into, well, you're not good enough. The gym's not good enough. The training's not good enough. There's all of a sudden another litany of things as to why something isn't working for that person. Ergo, the person's got to go do something else.
Right.
If a train was trying to travel from East Coast to West Coast and the whole way along the straight path, and the engineer decided, you know what, I don't like the straight path. It's boring. I want to go this way, and I want to go this way. Not only is the chance that person's going to get lost if he gets to jump tracks any way he wants to, it's going to take twice as long.
Yes.
And it's not going to work right. You know, you're going to expend energy and resources, and you're just screwing around all the time when the path is laid out. But people insist. Imagine that train track, it just turns around. You don't even realize that you've done a U-turn.
Exactly.
And then you keep circling around, and your excuses get more bolder because you spent more time on the track than you should have.
Yep.
You haven't learned anything. Mm-mm. You look worse than when you started. And there's 1,000 reasons as to why you're not going to take responsibility for it. Mm-hmm. Why a trainer would want to work with you. And I say this tongue in cheek, and this is just in the moment because I get discouraged when people don't see their own potential.
Right.
And we talked about this morning. The trainer can't be the motivation for you to get to where you want to go.
No.
You're a fitness professional, your nutritionist, your doctor. If they want your results more than you do, you're lost. Mm-hmm. Because at some point, they're going to get tired of your bullshit. And they're like, you're on your own, dude. You know, and I think that's why doctor's visits now, they're so short. All right, we'll see you in a year. Bye. Yeah. I mean, I get worked up as a trainer. What does a doctor look like after year? You see someone that's approaching diabetes, and boom, 5-6 years later, they've got diabetes.
Right.
The doctor's like, well, I told you. You know, what do you want me to do? That's why doctors, I think, anymore are impartial.
Well, you made a good point. I don't remember if we talked about it on a podcast or something else where it was like, they have now, like doctors now use the scale for everything. And I don't mean the scale you stand on, but they're like, hey, if you're within this percentage, you're fine, you're average, you're good. But nobody looks at the fact that from 0 to 99, they're saying you're average.
Yeah.
So it's terrifying. It's
so Jen's talking about the sliding scale when you go in and like get your blood work done.
Oh yeah.
And if your blood sugar is 75 to 99,
yes,
you are within the range of the majority of the population.
Right.
That range, and that range is provided by the lab.
Yep.
And the lab says, well, hey, this is where most people fall. Mm-hmm. And if you're in between the lowest of low and the highest of the high, you are in, and the doctor's like, well, you're average. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? As over the last 20 years, that whole thing has slid to the right.
Exactly.
Average has gotten worse.
Yes. It's the same thing that they keep saying, and I've never found anything that backs it, that they're changing the labels inside clothes to make people feel better about themselves.
Oh, totally.
So the old, the 2 that once upon a time, well, now you can go in and it's,
It's really a 4.
Exactly.
It was a 4 10 years or 20 years ago.
Right. So they're changing everything just to make you feel better about yourself, and people are blindly accepting. It's one of my favorite conversations when people, especially women, and I can say because I am one, when they come in and they're like, I wear a size 2, and the second half of that conversation is how they're considered morbidly obese by their doctor.
Right.
They have a skew of so many issues, it's not even funny. And I'm like, you understand that piece of clothing was marked wrong.
Well, let's talk about Lululemon's size 2. I mean, they all get sideways.
On.
They're meant to make so I look good. They say I'm a 2. I'm going to keep buying their clothes.
Exactly.
And there might be more psychology in the way that's the worst type of marketing, because they're actually creating a false narrative for you, not just selling you on a training mindset. They're like, hey, no, look, come to my size. You're only a medium over here.
Yeah.
And that's enough to get someone to be a repeat customer. Mm-hmm. So here we are. Yep. So here's trainers and here's the industry. And because we're breaking into the online space with Shapeshift, I'm starting to pay more attention to some of the other people that are before me. Mm-hmm. And it goes, the other piece to this and is pricing. All right. So cost, what do you pay? Mm-hmm. And most people, I say most, this is terrible. I shouldn't be doing such a broad, let's say 50-50. It's got to be worse than that, but I'll say half the people that are interested in change, there's a specific budget that they're willing to spend.
Right.
That budget doesn't become a priority until you have been, let's say, rejected by a date. Your spouse has left you because they said you're overweight and you're not attractive anymore. Your doctor says you're going to die by next year at this time. Let's say there's got to be some major thing in your life to go, ooh, my budget for this thing just went up, and I'm going to have to kick all this other bull jive around me down a level because I have to prioritize this.
Yep.
If there's no pain, people don't change. And if I try to, part of marketing and fitness, you need to bring pain. You need to help the person walk through the path, because when you first meet someone, they're always guarded. Oh, I like my body. I like my curves. I'm happy with where I'm at. Awesome. Great. You probably shouldn't be 290 pounds at 5'3". But let's talk about it. What's going on? And the idea is you need to walk somebody through their position and try to get to some truth.
Right.
It's not to make them feel bad, but the conversations people have in their head where they're not being fully honest with a stranger. Someone's not going to sit down with me and go, my mom, when I was younger, made a comment that I was fat, and it has messed with my head ever since. And ever since now, when I get in a fight, I hide in a closet and I eat food.
Right.
There's people out there like that.
Of course there are. And
the psychology that gets into how do I show you that your health is worth whatever investment? People will prioritize gas over there. I mean, fueling your car to go somewhere stupid. All-inclusive vacations where you're going to drink and eat yourself stupid is a priority. I get value out of that. But you losing 20 or 30 pounds doesn't have a value. It's like, well, I guess I can kind of see the value in that, maybe, if it's the right time and it's the right amount of pain. So I'm trying to circle back to where it's difficult as a trainer to continue to give a shit when people don't care about themselves. And
I think there's often a false idea of what trainers are actually supposed to be. So I've had a lot of experiences with people where it's like, well, you know what? You've changed. You used to care more. You used to give me the time. You used to do this. And it's like, but I can't want this more than you want it.
Yeah.
I can't love you more than you love yourself. So I think I've talked about this before with myself. I've really let my heart sink into people. Like it's a
trade.
I think it's a really good trait, and I think it's equally as bad. So for me to have the same conversation with the same person over and over and over again, it will wear my emotions down that I can't be as effective for the next person.
Of course.
So
that's completely accurate.
If people would, I'm a person, just be honest about it. Like I will, first of all, I don't judge anybody anyway. But if somebody comes up and they're like, I have put on not only the 50 pounds that I put on when I started with, your gym and you guys, but I've added another 25, but I don't care anymore, then I know what my role needs to be. So I can say, do you want to stay at the gym? Do you need coaching off to the side? Are you willing to pay for it? And if they're like, no, then I can't invest emotionally anymore because they won't. They're not going to invest in themselves.
If they won't even put on a life jacket,
yes,
to stay in the fight, you're absolutely right, because it can't be an extrinsic. It can't be an external motivator where the person comes up and goes, here's myself.
Yes.
I'm going to do the bare minimum. I need you to do all the work. I need you to do all the check-ins. I need you to make me want to be here. I need you to follow up with me 2 or 3 times a day. I need you to make me feel good about myself. I need you to do this. You're looking for a fitness butler.
Yes. But what I'm finding is, and I would do it. If somebody said they needed that and there was follow through, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But what we find more often than not is, I think it's a lot of lip service of, I need you to be all these things, and it's still not going to be enough because they don't want it bad enough.
Well, and that's like a chameleon, because
Totally.
In that moment, they're like, this is what I need. And then 2-3 weeks later, you need to be something else.
Exactly.
And even because they're starting to realize that I know you're giving me exactly what I asked, but my will to not do your guidance has changed. So my will to be resistant to you is getting bolder. So I need you to maneuver yourself. So the person's saying, trainer, you're giving me exactly what I asked for, but I still don't want to do it. And now my resistance to you is greater. So I need you to change and come at me another angle.
Right.
Outwardly knowing this, I'm just not going to do this.
Yes.
I'm just not going to do that. So that's the brick and mortar.
Right.
Then you go online with these people that are trying to do the same thing where they want to help a bigger demographic.
Yep.
And it gets difficult because when we open the gym, we're only exposed to so many people, so many hours a day. So taking something online means I can go to a broader message with a broader scope of people. And we created a program that doesn't need the one-on-one immediate contact.
Right.
And there's a section of the thing where it's like, you've got to do this piece on your own.
Yeah.
It's 100%, this system's been built by a mentor that's done it thousands of times. Follow this, then let's talk. You've got to finish the first 9 weeks of the program. It's expected you'll get here, or here.
Yep.
And when you're done, you've committed to the program. You've already knocked off some of the resistance on your own.
Yep.
You're able to follow directions, and you've got to be able to be consistent for 9 weeks. It's not the end of the world. Okay. P90X used to be 12 weeks.
Yes.
This is 9. It's simple. But even in that mode, we've had clients that can't even stick with 9 weeks on their own. They're like, well, I thought I was going to get more support. This is the beginning. The support piece comes after you've demonstrated you can follow directions.
Exactly.
So online personalities now, they're putting together great programs. I haven't seen one yet that's been totally false. People that are actually putting the effort and the time and energy into putting a good product together. So now they're doing price resistance. And what they're doing is this one guy that got destroyed, he was doing it for $1 a day. So the model is, well, I'll just make it cheap and we'll go for volume.
Right.
Our model is we're a little bit higher cost point. I don't want volume. I want quality.
Yeah.
So I want people that are going to come into the program. They're like, I'm going to respect the program because my time's important and my resources are important.
Yeah. And you've said a million times the people who pay attention. So you want somebody to invest in themselves and say like, ooh, I actually had to cut something out or change something to make this fit my budget.
That's who I want.
Yeah.
Because if you're so loaded that you don't respect the investment, you're not going to respect me.
No, of course not.
And you're going to look at me like, or any trainer, you're going to look like that brother that put that program together.
Yeah.
That he's worth only $1 a day. There's no chance he's worth only $1 a day.
No.
But he's made his program available for significantly less. In our program, we've got ambassadors and trainers, and we've got other people that you normally wouldn't get on the front end of these programs.
Right.
Even with the amount of success we've had so far with this, there is still a swath of people that couldn't finish.
Right.
Because it all of a sudden became it wasn't a priority anymore. And their investment wasn't bold enough to make them conform their behaviors, even to pay attention. That's someone that buys a movie ticket and walks out after an hour.
Right.
It's like, you couldn't hold my attention. Why'd you buy it, dude? You can't look at something before you pull the trigger to realize you're going to be able to stay to the other end. I don't understand that decision-making process.
The movie's that's a great analogy because if you think about it, like for our program for 9 weeks, if you're in it, we have never made any false promises like, oh my gosh, in the first week, you're going to have your dream body. Like we've never said that, anything like that in, the first 3 days, you're going to sleep like a baby.
The truth, that's why? Because the truth doesn't sell as much as the lie.
Exactly. But if I would say for anybody looking to do something, actually listen to what that person's telling you. If you're going to do shapeshift and we are saying in 9 weeks, you're going to be really happy with your results, then on week 3, don't tell us that, you're so unhappy and you hate it and you're not going to do it. Do the 9. If you do a program, if this $1 a day dude is like, hey, you need to sign up and you're not going to see anything until the first 30 days, give it the 30 days.
It's popcorn society, dude. They microwave popcorn. They're like, I want it right now.
I know. And I think a big problem that a lot of people are doing is number one, I will share a story. I won't, of course, mention the client's name, but I had one of my favorites come up to me and say, hey, I have a very serious question. And trust me, this isn't a bragging thing. She said, how do I get to look like you?
Move in with Brian Sweeney.
What do I need to do? And I said to her, you need to grow about 6.5 inches, first of all. She's a tiny little thing. And I was like, and you need to increase your age by X amount. And you need to have the same upbringing I have. I said, and you need to be married to somebody who's in the fitness industry too. And she just started laughing. And I said to her, it was a great conversation. Too many people are looking at what other people have done and they're expecting the same thing. They aren't factoring in age, circumstance. The person who does not work, let's say they don't work, they don't have children, or they don't work, they have grown children, and then somebody who's got 6 children and working 3 jobs and everything, there's no way they're going to have the same thing. Their lives are completely different.
Right.
So somebody could have time in their day to work out 4 and 5 hours. Somebody may barely get 20 minutes in. The results could be the same.
You know, it's funny. It's almost like socialist fitness. I want what you've got, and I don't want to put in the work for it.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
socialism.
And I think that a big thing that people also need to pay attention to are a lot of the times people are lying about how they're getting these results. Like when you don't see real people, I mean, the fun thing is with Shapeshift, we know that was you. Mm-hmm. We know that the before and afters that we have posted, they were taken in our gym by either us or by Chris. It's like we know they're real, but be very careful who you follow on social media and whose plan you follow. They're most likely not telling the truth. They forget to tell you they have a chef. They forget to tell you that they are actually, females, speaking as one. They're not telling you they're eating 600 calories a day. They're not telling you they're doing 3 hours of cardio.
Or the plastic surgery.
They're not sharing that information.
Mm-hmm.
They're disguising all of that and going, I can get you there. Look at me.
We were looking at, there's a local social media personality that she can't be 22, 23 years old. This person I have fat cells older than this person,
yes.
right? And this person is now an internet trainer. Mm-hmm. There isn't a fat picture to be found. Mm-hmm. There isn't a before. There isn't a struggle. Mm-hmm. It's TNA fitness.
Yes.
And this person is crafting a following and crafting a business based on an image that people want the output. They want the end result, but they don't recognize this person was made this way.
Yes.
This person's genetics are this way. They look this way. They've never struggled, and they're living a social media life.
Yep.
And people are flocking to these people, and there's no history required. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden now that's the fitness professional. We've got people that after going through our program decided they wanted to take it into their own program and turn themselves into life and health coaches based on just a little bit that they learned. Mm-hmm. And they actually put out a shingle and said, I'm a health coach now. Mm-hmm. I'm a life coach now. Mm-hmm. Even though their lives are messed up, there's all kinds of crap going on behind the scenes that you don't see that would mislead somebody. If you saw someone's true behavior, if you saw me eating pizza and drinking beer all the time and I'm standing in front of somebody saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. But maybe that's just you don't have to do what I do anymore. You just have to do what I say. Maybe the mentality of the industry has changed. But then when there is true people that are putting together good programs, charging $1 a day, they're getting destroyed because it's just not what people want to see.
Yeah. I think everybody's different. And, I've always said that I will never make fun of any exercise thing out there. Some of it I've not understood because I just think it's so wonky. Uh-huh. I mean, I'm not going to get into any of them, but there's a couple of them that have some of the funniest equipment I've ever seen in my entire life. But I think to myself, you know what? If it means somebody is not going to be diagnosed with diabetes, if it means somebody is going to not end up in a wheelchair, if it means that they're going to get to run around and play with their kids, I'm glad that those opportunities are out there. I really am. Be mindful whose path you pick to follow. If all of a sudden overnight, they are just there.
Yeah.
And overnight they've got 1 million followers on social media, and
they must be bona fide.
Just be mindful. And the other thing, and I've said it probably every time we've talked, be honest with yourself about why you want something if you don't, and be careful where you point the finger, because I can promise you I've never pointed the finger on any of my weight gain at you or our gym programming, or I've said, you know what, for these last 2 weeks, I haven't cared because I didn't want to. I'm always honest about it. And then when it's like, oh, you know what, I'm up 3 pounds, I'm up 4 pounds, I don't like it anymore. I'm going to be honest and say, now I need to drill things back in and I'm ready to recommit.
Honesty.
Be honest.
Stop it. Honesty, that's not real.
Yes. We had a fun conversation last night with somebody. So we were talking about just, pictures with some friends, and it was very lighthearted and funny, and people were sharing what they referred to as their own fat pic. Nobody said, oh my God, you were fat. They're like, do you want to see when I considered myself fat? And somebody had said to me, do you actually have a fat pic? And I was like, I got to be honest, I haven't. I've never had one. I've had where I have been heavier than I would like, but I have never been on a fat scale. So you're not going to see me go online and be like, I grew up and I was a really fat child.
Sure.
I don't have that story, so I'm not going to lie about it.
That's funny. So some people that would resonate more or less.
Absolutely.
So your value, and this is what I tried pushing for mine, coming up into 48 years old and being able to say, hey, look, you don't need an 8-pack heading into your 50s to be healthy, to have a good sex drive. You know, a 6-pack, it's good.
Yeah.
A little bit of an outline in your abdomen.
Definitely.
Great. But the ability to stay consistent over longer periods of time, that is a unicorn nowadays. People can they can lose weight, keep it off for about 6 months, then boom, it comes right back on. Because none of their social situations have changed. Of
course.
Because friends and people like to drink and they like to eat. And people aren't able to detach themselves from food. It is, anyone that says that food doesn't have addictive properties nowadays, and that gluttony is the greatest accepted social curse there is. People might look at you sideways for being hammered and drinking every weekend, but nobody looks at anybody different for just pounding food. And, you know, eat late, eat bad, eat often, whatever you want to do. It's your life and whatever makes you happy. And then Monday, those people roll into the gym saying, I need your help. And then every Friday back, they're right back out going, oh, I'm with my friends. I'm off duty again.
Right.
So to be able to be consistent over time, you become more resilient to the times that you do want to just kind of let loose, and you don't have to worry about the extras. But that is assuming you find a trainer that actually wants to give a shit about what you're doing, that really wants to help you. And you brought up something about goofy fitness and just the weird apparatus that's made its way into the fitness industry, whether it's bizarre ab machines or weird little bouncy boots and trampoline fitness and all this other goofy shit. Being active is nice. It's nice if you were a couch potato.
Yes.
But once you move from couch potato to active 3 to 4 days a week, it's not good enough anymore. It's only good in that moment where you transition from sedentary to active. You still be lightly active, but it's active. That's the only time those levels of fitness are good, is to get the pump primed. Once you go
it's the only time
there,
you're going to see results.
your body adapts and it's used to whatever goofy thing you're doing. You've got to go out and find something else. Why functional fitness is so popular is it pertains to things you do in life. You just start adding intensity to it. You start adding strength training to it. And then now the things that you do in life are stronger and faster, more stability, better core. But if you're just doing goofball fitness all the time and expecting you're going to get a healthy midsection, you're going to lose all kinds of weight, you're going to sleep better, you're going to get better sex drive. That the exercise, how long does it take for you to not work out before you lose your strength?
Oh, geez. Ooh.
2 weeks?
I'd say, yeah.
So 2 weeks.
I'd say 2 weeks.
So fitness is good for about a 2 week window.
Yeah.
All right. Because guess what happens as soon as you stop working out? Your body tries to kill you again.
Yeah.
It just starts slowing down. You atrophy, muscle shrink, strength disappears. There's actually a percentage, I can't remember what it was. It was like over the course of 6 weeks, you can lose 20% of your strength. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember where I read it. But the idea is your body will go in consistent decline if you don't maintain a minimum level of activity.
Yep.
So to think that your body's requirement for activity is the driver for your weight loss, that's where it's misplaced now. Because, hey, guess what? Surprise, they're marketing to you and selling you shit.
Yes.
Because they know that as soon as you take a 2 week break, you're going to buy the next crappy product that comes out. Because you're like, well, that product didn't work. It wasn't the product, dude. It was you.
Yes. And it's going to be you in the next one.
So when people are doing their program hopping, they're on from, on demand to in person to the gym to an online trainer, whatever they're doing. If you can't hold a 6 month candle, before I used to say, just give me 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks.
Great start.
It's a great start. It's you getting off the couch and putting on the weird conga boots or whatever the hell those things are. And you're active. Hey, nice job. You're going to see a 20% progress just because you stopped eating shit. Well, you're not going to see those results moving forward because it was just the initial shock to your body that got rid of those pro-inflammatory foods. You let go of some of that inflammation weight to the water that you were carrying. You're like, oh my God, this is the easiest thing. I've lost 20 pounds in 4 weeks. That's just from your body recovering from the stuff you've been doing. But if you can't earmark 6 months of your life to conform your behaviors, you got to wake up every day like a food monk. You got to sit there and meditate and pray about what the heck you're doing and how much effort you're going to put into conforming yourself. But if you're just like, I'm following my trainer's directions as soon as I'm bored, he says to eat this, I'll eat that. He says don't eat that, I won't eat it. But if you're not paying attention to what you're doing and how you're doing it, at the end of 6 months, when you quit and find fault in this person because they suck, because you didn't see the results, if you don't meditate on everything you do, you're never going to stick with it.
Right.
But people don't learn, they just follow instructions. And this is part of Shapeshift was meant to teach people, and this is the only thing that makes me nervous about the program, is that I only want the people that are really looking for change.
Right.
If you're looking for directions, just go pick up a freaking Men's Health and follow the 200th guideline on how to get six-pack abs. You ever notice how they always keep telling you how to get six-packs?
Yes.
Shouldn't everyone have a six-pack by now? It's been 30 years of the same advertisement, and people still pick up the magazine, they still read the stupid article, and then they still try to do the same result. And it never works.
And then after that, they read sex secrets revealed by women, what they really want.
They don't want your gut hanging over your junk. That's what they want. Fix yourself. Fix your wig.
Fix your wig.
All right. So, anything else to add to that? So, do we even have a point?
I think the point is just, it's be mindful of who you're following. Pay attention to the fact if you're following somebody because of what they look like, because you think you're going to look like that, and there's no way in the world, because you're freaking 6 inches shorter than that person, and they've got some. I mean, it's the vegetarian that's following the meat eaters diet. I mean, or the meat eaters, and it's like, but you're never going to look like them if you eat soy and plants and everything, and this person's eating everything in the entire world that has a face. You're not going to see those same results. I'm not going to follow a man, the diet that you are doing. I'm not going to follow what you're doing, because I'm never going to look like you. I'm not going to go and do what that 22-year-old doing. I don't have a 22-year-old's body anymore.
Yeah.
So be mindful. And then before you go out on social media and blast and be ugly and say that things don't work and these people they're scammers and everything else, actually follow it. Do what they're saying and then give an honest feedback. But don't say, I bought a 9-week program and it sucked, when you only did 3 days. Or this person's phony. I mean, I actually have no idea, because I don't know them as an individual and I never tried their program, but they suck.
They suck because they're in my timeline and I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
So watch who you follow. It would be a lot easier if the people that weren't really sure that they wanted to even make change stay out of the way, so that the people that do want it can get the time with the people that they're looking to train with.
Absolutely.
And it's if you don't need to go to the DMV to get a new license, why are you going to the DMV?
Yep.
Why are you hanging out in there? Don't take a number. Don't hog the line. And then certainly don't pollute everyone around you with your reasons for why you can't do something.
Yes.
You need to go check yourself, figure out what's going on with you mentally first, then find a professional that's going to walk you through the steps to get it done.
Definitely.
There are more than enough options. And it's so discouraging as a fitness professional, because I don't know that the industry is making any difference whatsoever right now. In the last 2 or 3 years, it's gone from 67% overweight and obese to 70%. It's gone up 3 points in the last 4 years. It's not working. People don't care anymore. It's a gluttony, miserable, nasty situation in our society right now. People want to point the fingers and pass the buck and blame and just be nasty, that no one wants to take the time to actually improve themselves, which, by the way, is good for your spouse and your family. Why don't you look out for them, you selfish bastard, because they're tired of watching you fidget with your weight all the time. Take a minute and set up a good example on how you can maintain yourself for your kids, for your spouse, for your mom and your dad. Don't use this opportunity to be a selfish ass and talk about why the world is also unfair to you. The fitness industry is here to help pave a way and create a new path, but so few will take it.
Yep.
Narrow is the door.
That's a good point. If you don't want to do it, nobody's going to judge you for not doing it. At the end of the day, or in the end of our life, there's one person who is entitled to judge us. There's one person who you're going to have to answer to, whether you are obese, fit, old, young, whatever it is. But if you haven't committed to something, don't go and trash it and ruin it for somebody else when that, whatever it was, could have worked for them. And if you don't want the change, don't do it.
Cool. Just
Don't do it. It's easy.
I won't know because I won't know you.
Exactly.
And I don't care because I care about the people who care about themselves. Isn't that terrible? Okay. Any other tidbits? You want to talk about our cool thing that we learned about emojis? This has nothing to do with what we talked about.
Yes, this is an excellent end. Yes.
So the prayer hands.
Yes.
So I can't remember who was saying it, who was talking about it, but somebody passes and somebody puts the prayer hands in there. They're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss."
Yes.
It's actually a high five.
Yep. We tried it this morning. So do a search if you were going to use an emoji in your search bar, hit high five and see what comes up.
It's like telling someone that died, "Hey, your dog died. High five."
High five. Yeah.
So there's my thing learned for the day.
Exactly. Humor and everything, everyone.
It could be prayers or it could be high five.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be aware it also means a high five.
Yeah. So maybe not use that the next time somebody dies. All right. Brilliant. Thanks for jumping on. We appreciate you guys and we appreciate the continued support. If you think that this was worth listening to, please pass it on. Mm-hmm. We tried to be, as we said in the beginning, as transparent and honest as possible. We're not going to sugarcoat things. And we're going to give you lessons learned, not just on our own experiences, but the experiences of people that we train and we work with. And obviously, anyone that's in this industry and continues to work with people that shit on them over and over again, it shows they've got heart. And it shows that they're actually in there to look at the bigger picture and not just the few floaty turds that always screw up the pool for everybody, right? So find someone that you believe is passionate about what they do. Invest in them like they invest in you. Don't take any word or any moment or any guidance for granted. Remember that the fitness that you do is not the path to wellness. The nutrition is. It is. I keep raising the percentage. 99%. It is now 99% of your entire future. Autism and the effects are tied to the bad food. Depression's tied to food. Oh, obviously weight gain and low sex drive. It's all tied to food. No one ever has bad testosterone because they don't work out enough. Yes, it has something to do with it, relationally, but that's not the overall. People don't get depressed because they don't work out. It just so happens that working out helps depression. So don't underestimate the influence and the power of you and what you shove in your pie hole.
Words of wisdom.
You like that? Mm-hmm. It was another rant.
Yes.
30-second one. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Thanks again.
All right.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.